Good morning, everybody. I'm Lina Abou-Habib, the director of the Asfari Institute for Civil Society and Citizenship, and I want to welcome you here for hopefully the first in a series of what is called Dialogue au Féminin. It has a Spanish name, which I have yet to be able to say fluently. I just want to say a few words. First of all, I want to welcome His Excellency Dr. Jesus Sanchez Aguado. I hope I didn't make a mistake with the pronunciations. And maybe because of you, Ambassador, there are so many doctors in the room, but I think also with our distinguished women. And I want to emphasize how wonderful it is to have four of our most distinguished women doctors at AUBMC. Welcome. I'll come to you in a second. I just want to take a few minutes to tell you how did this initiative come from. It's customary for the Asfari Institute and also together with the Archaeological Museum. Those of you who will stay with us will be also taken to a guided tour of the museum on also a thematic exhibition related to International Women's Day. So it's customary for us to celebrate International Women's Day, but in ways that are more in terms of where we are and what do we need to go further. It's more about what still needs to be done. It's more about showcasing the successes and celebrating the successes of amazing women in their fields. This time, our amazing panelist of women doctors in AUB. I wanted to share with you that planning of this particular event happened on a very unfortunate day. It was the day when the pagers blew up in Lebanon, and it was in the midst of really chaos. And our dear friend from the Spanish embassy, Dr. Antoine Abras, and I were in a conversation, and I'm very glad that we were able to continue the conversation because this is what it is about. It's about recognizing the immense struggles and the immense violations of rights that we are living within, but also to be able to continue and to be able to keep talking what we're talking about and to keep pushing the envelope at a time where I don't think we've seen worst violations of rights everywhere. I'm very happy that we can celebrate at AUBMC the presence and the contribution of amazing women in their fields. I'm hoping that this will be the start of a series of Dialogue au Féminin with women from other sectors, and I'm hoping that we will continue this collaboration with the Spanish embassy. There's a lot to be covered still. We really want to bring our women professionals in the media, war reporters in Lebanon and beyond, women who are professionals in other sectors, in STEM. So I'm dare to say that this is the first in a series in collaboration with the embassy. And I want to welcome a very good friend of the Asfari Institute and somebody who has really fought to bring change to the Lebanese parliament, Halima Qaaqour, Dr. Qaaqour, who's been not only a brilliant and unusual legislator, but she has been a very good role model for our students and has been present in most of our conversations as somebody who has fought uphill, and once she got to where she got, she's actually doing the good fight. So welcome. And I want to welcome all our colleagues from the medical school. I'm at awe at how many doctors there are. This is a first, so thank you for being with us. I want to give the floor to His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Jesus for his welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting me today and accepting to have this activity in the Asfari Institute. It's for me also very nice to be surrounded by doctors and not by diplomats, politicians, and to become to my former self and to try to contribute to something as important as gender equality. I have to say that even if my title is a doctor, as my wife says usually when there is a medical problem in the house, is I would like to have a real doctor, not you. So today, let's see that I am a real doctor. Well, good afternoon, all of you, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Madame la Députée. Welcome to the 7th edition of Dialogues in Plural Feminine, dedicated on this occasion to women in medicine and STEM in Lebanon. On behalf of the Embassy of Spain, I would like to express our gratitude to the AUB, the Asfari Institute for Civil Society and Citizenship, and the Archaeological Museum for hosting this event. I would like also to thank the moderator on this session, Dr. Mahmoud Choucair, for accepting our invitation to moderate a panel of highly respected AUB physicians and scientists. Allow me to mention that we are today in the 7th edition of an initiative that was launched by the Embassy of Spain in 2021 with a large variety of local partners and academic institutions aiming to advocate for gender equality in many different fields. That's the reason for including the word plural. In fact, this interdisciplinary project stands for supporting and accelerating women's participation in all kinds of relevant fields in Lebanon. Therefore, over the last 3 years, our discussions have focused on analyzing the role that Lebanese women play in different sectors: politics, culture, theater, environment, entrepreneurship, or science. Today, following the World Medical Women's Day every 11th of February, which coincides with the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, we would like to focus on our discussion on the medical field. By the way, although its commemoration refers to Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to obtain a medical degree in the USA in 1849, more than a century and a half later, despite the increasing numbers of women graduates, inequalities still persist in the profession, especially in senior positions. Before giving you the floor, I would like to mention some information about my country, about Spain. According to statistics of registered health professionals, before 1965, the number of registered female doctors in Spain did not reach 1,000. That year, it exceeded with 1,044, but the figure was still much lower than that of male doctors, 38,665. Only a little more than half a century later, in 2017, female members are 127,979, exceeding the male members 125,817 for the first time. Since this overtaking, the distance between both figures has continued to grow in favor of women. There is probably no other skilled occupation in Spain in which women's presence has increased in such a rapid or steady way as in medicine. For example, today, among doctors aged 35 to 42, there are 245 women for every 100 men. According to the National Institute survey on registered health professionals, 53% of registered health professionals in 2023 were women. This figure exceeded that of men for the first time in 2017 and has increased year over year since then. But the data is also telling us that there is no parity in senior positions. Figures from WHO Meds, Women and Medicine in Spain, promoted by the Federation of Spanish Scientific Medical Associations and published in 2023, in a study mentioning that although 60% of the medical staff in Spanish public hospitals is made up of women, the position of head of the department is occupied only by 17.6%. Women have made significant strides in medicine, contributing to advancement in healthcare, research, and patient advocacy. However, despite their achievements, there are still significant challenges to overcome in achieving full equity in the field. Ongoing efforts to support women in medicine and ensure diversity in healthcare leadership will be crucial for the future of medicine and health. Therefore, it is crucial that effective policies continue to be implemented to ensure that women can access the same levels of responsibility and leadership as men, which will not only benefit women professionals, but also the health system as a whole. Addressing gender discrimination in medicine is crucial for ensuring fair and effective health care for all. By recognizing and challenging biases, we can create a more inclusive and equitable medical system. And without any further delay, I would like to give the floor to the rest of the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. I want to take a minute just to give you the run of show. This is not a place where we're going to have speeches. It's going to be an interactive conversation moderated by Dr. Mahmoud Choucair, and his specialty is internal medicine, with, as I said, and I can't say it enough, with 4 amazing women doctors at AUBMC, Dr. Nesrine Rizk, specialist in infectious diseases, Dr. Maya Romani, specialist in family medicine, Dr. Marianne Majdalani, a pediatrician, and Dr. Souha Kanj, also a specialist in infectious diseases. The way it will run is that we had a really good time preparing the key issue that we would like to explore with our guests about their own journey in entering the field of entering and staying in the field of medicine. We would like to hear their stories, inspirations from their stories. After we finish these conversations, we have the second segment of our celebration, and I hope you will be able to join us at the Archaeological Museum, where our colleague, the museum curator, Dr. Nadine Panayot, has organized a very special exhibition to commemorate also International Women's Rights Day. Dr. Choucair, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Lina. Thank you all for organizing this conference or this meeting or this interactive session. It's very important to know that this is the first activity and it's dealt with medicine, which means medicine still is important, at least in this country. We will raise many concerns and we will see where we are going, where we can go. And it's very important to know, to build up a very good AUB system to protect, or at least to have no problems in inclusion and the politics of inclusion. And at the same time, I'm very lucky to have 4 leaders of female leaders in medicine to being with us. Just a comment on Spain. Do you know that now in Spain, the government, they are 23. The first minister and 22 ministers. 11 are women and 11 are males. 3 vice presidents are women. At the same time, in our mid-3 class, 55 are female and 49 are male, the current class. I'll start by raising a question about the particular journey of my colleagues in the field of medicine. We want to learn about your experience, your journey, and if you remember any conflictive issue which we can help in the future for the new generation in order to overcome. I will start with, I think with you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. So my journey started January 2005 at AUB. So I finished pediatrics in the US, and then I did pediatric intensive care. And choosing intensive care already raised up a lot of eyebrows. Why are you choosing a field that's so demanding? You're going to be on call at night. You're going to have to leave your family. I heard it in the middle of the night to come and take care of patients. I stood firm, and I think one of the key reasons why that pushed me to still stay firm is my mom. My mom is a PhD in physics, and she achieved quite a lot in academia. And she was able to do it. So she was a great role model for me that you can do it as a woman and raise a good family and be successful. I faced a lot of problems coming in as a newly mom to AUB with no support. Not no support. No, let me say, no facilities to be able to help me as a breastfeeding mom, as the facility were not there, daycare for my son in the facility where we had it available as residents in the US. So you go to the hospital, there's a daycare where you could put your kids and just be there with them. So this was one of the challenges we had brought it up, and they said, yes, we know it's there, but still up till now, I don't think anything was done. I was lucky that I went into a department which the majority are females. So we form a very supportive group and a very cohesive group amongst ourselves, and I think this has helped quite a lot. Even, and I'm going to be very honest, I did not feel, and I'm going to talk only about my department, my colleagues might have completely different experiences. We are supportive of each other, whether it's males or females, whether intensive care or not intensive care, regardless of what the subspecialties are. And just to show how things have evolved, we have a fellowship program, and for the past now 4 years, we only have females applying. We don't have any males applying to a field that's considered quite challenging and demanding on women. And two of my fellows right now are, one of them is about to deliver, so throughout her fellowship she was able to do that. So I think we were able to show them that as role models you can juggle both. You can have a successful personal life, and you can have a successful career at the same time. And I'll wait for the second question.
Okay, thank you. Maya?
First, I would like to thank Lina. Thank you. Thank you for your team as well. Thank you for the British Embassy. Thank you for our Spanish.
No.
Sorry, I apologize.
let us
Big
call-
mistake. Big mistake.
Let us call, perhaps they moved from Gibraltar to Madrid.
Thank you for my colleagues who are attending here today, AUB MC leadership, FM leadership, so thank you everyone. So talking about the challenges is really super hard questions, especially that I was asked to limit it to like really one important or one significant challenge. So I really need hours to talk about my challenges. However, I'll be like really specifying one major significant challenge I faced is when you are trying to build something new in a system that is not like really ready to adopt it or ready to have it. Here I'm talking about my baby at work, which is the Health and Wellness Center. I call it my baby because I got it first few years when I joined AUB. Now it became a child. It's like a 7-year-old. Why it was really challenging? Because, as I said, I'm bringing something new. So I'm bringing integrative medicine, which is evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine. I'm bringing work-life balance or corporate wellness to a new system. I'm bringing lifestyle medicine, in addition to complementary and alternative medicine, a wellness academy to a traditional medical center. So it was like really challenging convincing everyone that these really are evidence-based practices that can work, and we all need it. Whereas most of the people saw wellness as like not a niche, a nice to have, rather than something that we need, something that is essential to take care of ourselves and to take care of others. So as a clinician, as a researcher and educator, it took me like really twice or maybe more as hard to convince people to get there, or to convince people around me to get this idea. So the main challenge was like having a center with mainly 4 arms and trying to recruit people to this center, whereas they see it as non-essential. So thinking about how women are really strong, I decided to go for women's leader to support me. I started by the HR. Lama Aitani is not here today. So it was like really hard to convince them at least to recruit for me one officer or one manager to run the center. Our wellness officer is here, Rewa. Thank you for all the work you do. And she's alone. She's managing like really 4 top programs. So I realized that it's really hard to pioneer something new, and to be able to establish that, you must believe in it first. So you must believe in whatever you're going through before others see it. I saw it not in my mind as a vision, I saw it as a reality. So my number 1 advice when facing challenges is whenever you have a vision, you have to see it in front of you. So with advocacy, persistence, and of course strategic alliances, we were able at AUB to have the first wellness center in an academic medical institution. We were the first among the region to have the first integrative and lifestyle medicine programs in Lebanon and in the region, which is something we are all deeply proud of. So this makes me like feel or think that women in leadership must not only take up space, but also reshape it when necessary.
Thank you. Nesrine?
Yep, thank you. Thank you again, Lina. Thank you, Dr. Ambassador. And thanks for everyone who's here today. It's, as Maya mentioned, it's difficult to think of only one challenge when you're asked this question. And not that I'm whining, but this is how it is. It's a male-dominated world in general. It's male-dominated in everything, in politics, which I think is the most challenging now for us to perceive. But when I got to think about that question, you hear about the glass ceiling, and they talk about women who break the glass ceiling. Do you know why it's a glass ceiling? Because it's transparent, and nobody sees that it exists. And it's not only a ceiling, it's also walls around us at times. So as a medical student, as a resident later, there are immutable things that you cannot count, how the world looks at you. I was telling Lina and my colleagues here a few days ago that I don't look at myself as a woman. I'm an individual. I was taught to work hard by my father and mother, and there was no distinction between them when they were working hard to raise us as a family. So in the back of my mind, I don't think of myself as a person who's challenged or handicapped in a society. Maybe because we learned to really work hard, and it was always about working hard to getting to what you want or doing what you need to do. And with all the social background, of course, the culture, the male-dominated culture in our country, it was there in the background. And maybe one way for me to live was to proceed was to do better and do more always. And this is a theme, I think, that's very common to women in medicine. They say we work harder than male doctors to prove ourselves. And I really didn't think about it until, a few days ago, when I was just like reading the question. And then maybe the reason we will have to work harder and our outcomes, the outcomes when you compare male and female physicians, are better for male physicians. Our patients are better taken care of, outcomes are better, mortality is better, we follow better, we take our time with patients, which is important. And that's telling to the amount of energy, time, and effort we have to put to advance ourselves to be equal. And that is maybe because we're women, and that is the challenge, actually. Maybe the shape, maybe it's the culture. بس كمان it's inherited centuries and millennia of us being weaker, perceived as weaker in a world where you need to be strong physically and then mentally. Once the physical challenge has been overcome, now يعني, I am a feminist to the core, I'm going to say that, and I apologize to all the men here. They're using mental to basically keep and carry on that. Yeah. So this is in my life I've enjoyed great relationships, work relationship, friendship relationships with men. They've been supportive من الأول, and you don't even think about it, you know, when you're friends. But that I think was the most important challenge.
Thank you, Nesrine. Souha?
All right, well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, an honor to meet you, Mr. Ambassador. I think my challenges were at a different kind. I'd say my biggest challenge was at the beginning when I started med school, because it happened in the midst of the civil war that was brutal. And I lived in the west part of Beirut, and my university was in the east part. And I had to cross under bombs and sniper bullets every single day. But right back then, I was able to prove to myself and to the world is that if you adjust to the environment, you can achieve and show leadership. Because I was a very minority Muslim in that university, and yet I was elected as student representative of a class that was 99.9% of the other religion. And back then I thought, you know, people say it can be done, but you can do it. But it has to be in the right style, in absorbing people, in meeting people in the middle and show them that it can be done. And then I went to the US with my husband, and I had to self-teach myself English, because I went to the French university and I didn't go through any official English classes, but I had to do it myself. And that was another challenge for me, but I also felt that I was able to succeed at it. And I ended up training in the same university where we were together. And my medical training, I would say, really had no challenges, because I was so fortunate to train in an institution where people did not look at you as a gender. You know, they looked at you as whatever you're capable of. And very, very early in the process of my training, I really felt I received what I deserved. So until I got to the research part, and this is where the challenge happened, because then when I started my basic research training in a laboratory in one of the very hardcore molecular labs at Duke University, this is when I felt my boss did not accept the fact that I can be a clinician, a scientist, and a mother at the same time. She would say comments as, "You can't do all three at the same time. You clinicians," and she will call me "you clinicians. Why do you want to even do research?" And to me, that was really very shocking. But also, I said, you know, I will adjust to that, and I just try to convince her that I can do all three. And obviously, with a lot of support from my husband, who's sitting here as a signal of support, we were able to do it. And so then...
Control, you said?
No, support. But also, I'd like to say that even when I went back after graduation, you know, I went to the chair of medicine and I said, I'd like to establish a program that was non-existent at Duke. And I was only at the end of my fellowship, this very young junior person going to one of the very powerful chair of medicine saying, I want to establish a transplant infectious disease service at Duke. And he looked at me, said, can you do it, you little Souha? I said, yes, I can. And so anyway, with a lot of support, we did it. And I was just at the end of my training, not a seasoned faculty member. Another challenge happened when I was recruited to come back to AUB. I think this is where I would call it a real challenge, because I came to a male-dominated division. I was the youngest, the only female in a group that had 6 men, and I really did not feel welcome. And I felt that I was, people wanted to undermine everything I said. And it's a long story, but as soon as I was appointed as head of division, I gathered the people and I said, you know, I'm gonna put everything in the past and we're gonna start with a new page. And I was able to work with every one of them, with all the challenging personalities, etc. And we really built a very successful division. And now you will be happy to know that we have more women than men in the division. So it's 4 women, 3 men. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Concerning the question number 2, social norms place the burden of care on women. What workplace policies could help reduce this burden for women in medicine? Okay, Souha.
So I think, you know, there are some basic things that can be done. I think organizations in many parts of the world, I know in Spain, talking to my colleagues, and in the US and others, they give the same attention to, for example, maternity leave to paternity leave. They work hard to create childcare center in areas around the organization where work is. So there are some very minor things that can be achieved that unfortunately we're still lacking. One thing that I'm happy to say that Marianne's mom had pushed hard for is the clock for promotion. What happens if you had a baby and you took a year off to take care of your baby? Is this year counted for your promotion? So there are many examples that can be done. And I see there is a move for our organization to move in that direction, but a lot still needs to be done, I would say.
Thank you.
So actually, as a mom of 2 children, 9 and 13-year-old, pray for me, she's a teen. So I'm the eldest among my sisters. I've always tried to balance between work and life. So I'm not here, of course, to nag. I'm here to talk about how I navigated that, putting also on my wellness background and corporate wellness. So there's no work-life balance, actually. You cannot be 50% at work and you cannot be 50% at home taking care of your family and your children. So what we need to do, and what I used to do my best to do, is to do like work-life harmony. When we say harmony, it's like to be present when you have to be present. I used to get sometimes my child, when he's sick, to some important meetings that they refused to cancel, for example, and I had to take some times off, for example, when my family needs me. So having work-life harmony is really essential. The second thing is to identify what are your professional goals and to prioritize these things. I remember really well when I joined AUB as an instructor, I was asked to do clinic research education. At the same time, I had a 4-month baby girl. So I could not be like really dedicated mom, physician, researcher, and as well a teacher. So what I did, sorry Khalil, I'm trying to inspire others, but we'll come to that later, that I give up on research for a few period of time. So instead of getting my promotion in like after 1 year from instructor to assistant professor, it took me 4 years because I put my time as a priority at work for my clinic and my students, and at work for my family. And then later on, we have to know really well that priorities will change. Then I put my full effort into my research because it was like really the time to work on my research. At the same time, my baby is not anymore a baby. So I started working on my research and I applied for early promotion and I became an associate professor early on. This would be my second advice, is to align your goals with the tasks you're gonna do. The third thing is to ask for help and support. My mom is a role model with altruism and dedication. So I used to do everything at home myself when I got married initially. Then I got it. I should ask for help. So it's simply I can ask my husband to help. And I was surprised really that when I asked him to help, he really helps. So he was like a big support to me. So this would be like my number 3 advice, is to simply ask for help, not only at work from mentors, colleagues, and friends, but also at house, because as you said, our culture does not align with that too. And my fourth one is letting go of perfection. I cannot be a perfect perfect mom, a perfect clinician, also researcher and educator. It's okay to be excellent. So I don't have to be like really perfect in everything to fulfill everything I want to do. What are things that not on a personal level, but institutions can do to support us as working moms that try to do work-life harmony? First, to have flexible work options. For example, having online meetings, giving us more time in promotion if we have like really small kids or babies. And of course, culturally normalizing that men can also be caregivers at home. And as Marianne said and Dr. Kanj said, that to have like on-site childcare, and this I think the next to do on AUB's list to support us. So in conclusion, we can have like really a fulfilling personal life and a thriving career.
So as it doesn't directly, I mean, childcare doesn't directly apply to me. Never been married, never had children, but I think that I can, and as a leader today in my field, I think my job is to promote other women proactively and listening to different concerns and being more proactive. I think in medicine, though around 60% of the workforce is women, is made of women, only 10 to 15% of women get to leadership positions in decision-making positions. So that's something that needs to be proactively changed. And I believe that it's our individual responsibilities to be advocating for that and listening and doing differently maybe. And I don't think I think all people are equal and everybody should get the same attention, should be treated the same. However, even that doesn't always apply, and we should be taking into consideration the particularities for every person. And if women colleagues need an extra push, it should be done. And it's important. I think it's vital for the future of the profession in terms of diversity and representation at all levels. In a word that is, and maybe in the word outside of here, in different cultures, different places, it's different. So if we as a country and as an institution need to be at that level, we need to proactively get to that level. And by creating daycare on site, differences in looking at trajectories, trying to understand, maybe those 3 years that Maya had to forego doing research, that should not happen. And we should find ways to work around it so that we can support Maya, and because we're comparing Maya to a man who doesn't have the same demands. We either remove the demands, but then we can't do that. Maya is a woman, is a mother. The father can help, of course, but come in as an institution at work, and I don't really know how to do that, but the only way I think I can do that is by understanding this for other women in my position, try to accommodate that proactively.
Thank you.
Yeah, briefly, I'm going to mention an experience I had. So I was the president of the Lebanese Pediatric Society for a few years. I stepped down last August. And I was faced with a major crisis concerning the vaccines. And we had to do sit-ins and meet with all government, even to the President of the Republic. And it was very interesting that with all my credentials and everything, the questions were addressed to the males who were with me in that meeting. Okay, and I was like, okay, what do I do about this? And then during meetings, when I wanted to make a point, and of course sometimes they were not listening, and I raised my voice, I used to hear in the background, oh my God, she's بتعيط كتير بتصرخ كتير إنه not necessarily, but we were put down for raising our voice when it is not appropriate. So it's not only AUB, it's the culture of the country. And even if you want to look at TV, I'm just going to step out a little bit about medicine. All the talk shows that you get and so on, the majority are males who are coming and giving their opinion. So it's like every 3 episodes, you will get 1 episode where you have a couple of females who are amazing when you listen and talk to them. So the culture of our country is not there. And I think this is a very amazing forum for us to start raising awareness, because if we raise awareness at the level of the country, it will fall back on all organizations and so on.
We will open the floor for questions.
Thank you for sharing all these experiences. Before becoming a deputy MP, I'm a gender expert, I'm an academic, so I understand all what you're going through, and we need a structural change. Yeah, I know what you're struggling. I know you're doing your best to play all these roles at the same time. But this is not about you only. This is about the country. This is about the parliament issuing new laws, really providing and helping women to be in economy. Just to tell you that we have just 22% of women in the market, labor market. This is not acceptable. And we have like more than 54% of women graduating each year from university. So wow, we have a huge lag, and we are losing many of these diplomas, and we are losing many of these powers and energy, not just in the society, in all the sectors needed. So yes, we need to do something, and I asked Dina like 1 year ago to work together, because I need to use this research you're doing, and especially in the economic empowerment of women, in order to translate this research into laws. Because we have this partnership together, and with the help of all of you, we can do something. I can be the voice of this cause in the parliament. I can advocate. I can call more MPs to be with us on board in order to push these things, because yes, we are losing in the economy, and we are losing from the GDP. So we can increase the GDP in this country if you do that. It's not about you as a woman, not about me as a woman. It's about the GDP, about the economy of the country. So this is about development. So yes, we need to do that. This is about the well-being. No, well-being is essential, is a right. It's not no. I'm a social democrat person, so we believe that well-being is a right. So we need to work on it, and it requires many works to do, from the legal aspect, social aspect, cultural aspect, and all aspects needed in order to reach this well-being. So we need to create more choices, especially for women, for everyone, especially for women, in order to leave no one behind. Thank you.
Halima and Dr. Najat Aoun were with us with a beautiful session with students just 2 days ago. And they were both saying something. It's not just about us. What we're doing is opening the way to other young women to go into politics, understanding what your experience were. So I just want to emphasize this, because also this is also why we wanted to have the conversation with you, so that younger women understand the ways you have opened doors for them. And I think that's very important. And another point, which I'm really very happy that Halima is with us, because this is something that needs to go to Parliament, and you've been instrumental in doing this. You all mentioned in various different ways the ways in which the burden of care has been an impediment one way or the other. In the next set of questions, I think Dr. Choucair will be talking about or asking you what you think could be done. And I want to add to this question, and also later on coming back to you, Halima, legislating care and making care not just fall on the burden of women, and also for you in the field of medicine, in your sectors, the ways in which policies that recognize care and that reduce care, the care burden, what is it that you think would work?
Khalil Kaidi from the Faculty of Medicine. For those who they don't come from academia, so these lovely faculty members, they are not only physicians, they are also, as Dr. Romani mentioned, they are researchers, they are educators, they are clinicians. They serve on multiple committees and task forces when they are asked to do, whether at AUB or to their profession, and they raise families or they try to help their own families. So thank you for doing all that at the same time. A question for you. You've talked about your challenges and what you faced during your tenure here at AUB, but let's talk about the positive things that probably you've passed through, and if there were any female or male role model that you looked to and inspired you during your journeys, not only one journey, being physicians, educators, researchers, and so on.
Excuse my voice. Just one idea came to my mind when you were talking, Dr. Kanj, about your, CV and what you did. The idea was that at the end of your talk, you mentioned that when you joined AUB, you were the only female in the infectious division. And now when you became the director, you mentioned at the end that now you are 4 females and 3 males. Being a director, did you intend to recruit, this is the idea, did you intend to recruit more females? I mean, are females or women going to take some revenge on males when they become in power? This is just an idea. I know your personality. You would not do this thing, but maybe the idea came to my mind.
Thank you, Dr. Hannoun. Actually, if you said you know me well, and if you know me well, you probably are just asking this for the others to hear. I'm someone who believes in people's abilities and credentials to reach, I'd like to call it leadership positions, but I think we have to differentiate between being a manager and being a leader. When you're a true leader, you make the right decisions that are best for whatever department, organization you take care of, and you take care of the people in that organization or department. So I'm all for recruiting whoever is credentialed and has the abilities to perform in that particular position. I never look at gender. I was the director for 22 years when I recruited fellows, faculty, etc., research fellows. Gender never entered into the equation. Even some people told me, for your research fellow, he's always in the room. Maybe it's more comfortable for you so that you're, à la forme, مثل ما بقول, if you have a research fellow who is a female, because then you don't have to worry about what you're wearing, etc. It's never in my equation. If you have the ability, the credentials, the personality, then you're in for that position. Thank you.
Political landscape and the ripple effect across the world. And DEI is being scraped, and in the name of fairness, we are, I think, witnessing a movement against equity. And my question is, can we, in our context, become a leading example of how we are a good example of equity in this world? Is this an opportunity for us? Okay.
I think we're set up to succeed as the culture, and I think we're very in the place of our country in the middle of the along the Mediterranean, our history, the legacy of the people who were our ancestors. I think, and the setup of Lebanon, a land of inclusion. This is our tradition, this is us, and this is how we've done things for thousands of years, and this is, I think, how we and very recently we had a painful experience, but we were able to accommodate in that spirit of it's more than tolerance. It's a proactive. It's a mission, and we don't recognize it all the time. So I got to thinking about that and how, I'm hearing from colleagues in the States, for example, that, oh my God, they're wiping out, they're closing down DEI offices. Some people have lost their jobs. And I'm thinking, how is this going to reflect down here? I think we're shielded somewhat. And if we go back to ourselves, and again, our position in the wood and in history, and the history of this big wood, I think we can find a lot of answers to that. And the inclusion tolerance is I don't want to say is exclusively Lebanese on the planet, but it's something that I think, have done very well over the decades.
Yes, hi, Nadine Panayot. You'll be joining me soon at the museum, hopefully. What I wanted to say, just because you mentioned the political aspect of things, I think we're far from achieving that, but we definitely have the duty of playing that role as an institution. And I think so far we've proven that we have been a very specific, very supportive institution of the Palestinians' rights. I think we've been leaders in that. I think we've produced the biggest amount of books and research and intellectual conversations on that topic. And I think this puts us in a very, very unique position. And we have to take on that role, no matter how costly this might be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to the second part. Just to mention one thing, in Spain, there is a Ministry for Inclusion, and it's led by a lady. Okay. It's true. Okay. Then the last part is, this is the question for my colleagues. Where do you see the difference with the men? Is it in the responsibility, sharing responsibility? Is it in promotion or in leadership? And how it's important to have a mentor, and at the same time, how it's important to you to help the junior staff in academia, in promotion, in research, and in clinical aspect. And we should include everyone. Sure, you agree on this point. And the last question is, what are your words of wisdom for women in the medical field? تفضلي سوها.
I think that also answers Khalil's question. I think mentors are very essential in everybody's career, regardless of which career we're talking about. In medicine, this is even more important. A mentor can put you on the right track. They can guide you. And they can be a role model without saying, I'm a role model for you to follow. I think by their actions, they identify themselves as role models. I happen to have been very lucky to have had two great mentors, and I'd like to mention their names at Duke, Dr. Sexton and Dr. Corey. They really helped me making the right decision in every step until I reached here. And sadly, when I came here, I had to rely on their mentorship to keep going and to get their guidance. But I learned so much from them that I decided that I'm going to be that mentor for all the juniors who work with me. And I'm very happy to have really trained. I have 47 between clinical fellows and research fellows who trained under my time in the division. And every one of them, they're like my second set of children. So we have WhatsApp groups for my research fellows, WhatsApp group for my clinical fellows. And we share every success story, every good news, every sad news. And they are still, up to this day, after so many years, I've been here for 27 years, they reach out to me to get my guidance on career path, but also on individual patient care, on their children, advice, on research projects, etc. So I think mentorship is very, very important. And unfortunately, I did not find it when I came here to AUB, but I I would say was lucky enough to still rely on the mentors I had at Duke, which were really fantastic.
The role of mentorship is important, and just again, you know, reflecting on this in line with the first question about the challenges. Very early on, the first job I took in the States, I think the first challenge came from the woman who hired me to do the job. I think she was just, she thought she could manipulate me to getting to what she needed to be done for her position and the center at the time. So they needed to hire a doctor. They thought it was easy to get me there, and then she clearly said, we hired you to keep getting the grants. You don't have to work. I said, what do you mean I don't have to work? She said, just do whatever. I said, I'm an HIV doctor. I'm the medical director here. What do you mean? I need to see the patients. No, don't worry about it. Just be happy. We're paying your salary. So that was a little. That opened my eyes to ways to the work, to the world of the work and professional relationships. Very, very luckily for me, and it's not a very bad story, because I was able to rely on women who had been in a similar position, who were close by, who happened to be Lebanese, could have been anything else. And I still count pretty much like Souha's just saying, I still rely on their advice. I think they understand my problems better than a man would. And I think that based on the advice I get, and it's not just one person, several different women, we're lucky, I think, in ID that we're very, a lot of women are in infectious diseases. So it's easy to find colleagues, role models, and actually mentors for professional advancement. There are subtle things that you don't, that are not common between us and our male colleagues. That only women understand, and women who have been in our positions and in similar situations will be able to advise you on how to handle this and how to go about that. And then you start learning on your own. It's like a snowball effect. But you definitely need that, and I really particularly think I'm super grateful for life to have put me in and to have put these people on my path. Because they've guided me and continue to do that. And I hope that I can continue, or I do that the same for younger women in my field and in other fields, whether at home, family, nieces, cousins. I think we all to lift ourselves up.
I'm really very grateful to all the mentors I had in my life, and I wouldn't have been reached this position without mentors from both sides, men actually and women. Here I would like to also name Dr. Ghassan Ahmedi, who initially in my career was of a great support as a great mentor. Dr. Jumana Antoun in my research career was like really super helpful, and now in my leadership position, Dr. Ali Tahir, who just left, I owe them a lot. I promise to be very brief, so I will jump to the advice I would be given to young women who are leaders, that even if you are like in a specific track, you can be a mentor for people who are younger than you. So what I'm doing, like to push on my colleagues around me, or mentoring the young women around me, is that having this in mind, that mentorship is not only about guidance, it's about sponsorship and opening doors for opportunities. So whenever I am in any meeting, I honestly advocate a lot for women who I see them like really as hard worker, because creating opportunities will lift up their professional growth. Moreover, on a personal level, I try my best to encourage them to take risks and try as much as possible to silence self-doubt.
So I'm going to agree a lot with Dr. Kanj, with what Dr. Kanj said. When I came in 2005, I was the first pediatric intensivist, and really I'm going to say, it took me under their wing. So it was sink or swim for me, and I relied on my mentors in the US. So I think my phone bill the first year to the US was exorbitant, because I kept on calling them, I need help, what do I do, and so on. And I'm going to say that I've seen a change happen at AUBMC. I think young faculty are being more taken under the wings of a senior, like mentorship. It's better. Are we where we should be? Absolutely not, but it's much better than I think when we started. And this is something that's really very, very important. And I think that the advice I have for a lot of the growing or the incoming faculty or fellows is that even if we have set goals, sometimes you're going to have opportunities that come up that you might want to change or relook at the goals and reset what you are doing. So I went in intensive care, then so many opportunities are coming and knocking my door. I'm rethinking whether I should go along that path and so on. So let's not be set in stone in how we want our career to go, and let's keep our minds open for opportunities that might come, because we might excel in them and prove that we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a few minutes for the last interactions, questions. You can speak in Spanish.
Yes. Sí, sí, claro. Me gustaría, pero no puedo. بس.
فكرتني عم بمزح كل شيء مزح.
No, I wanna thank you for to all four panelists and Mahmoud and Lina. I just want to give a side that's so I'm Souha Kanj's husband, so I can give a side of the story that's a bit different from looking at it from the other side. Clearly, we live in a patriarchal system or country or even world, and the road is long. So as long as we're commemorating International Women's Day, that means we haven't reached the goal that we want to reach. Otherwise, every day is Women's Day, and there's no need to really select a day to point out a problem if it's not there. So there's a lot to be done, but I would argue that what needs to be done both at the individual level but also at the society level is to enhance the idea of merit, fairness, and equity. Because if we don't have these cultural values inherent in us, there's no way we can break from this existing rigid model. I mean, my mother was a homemaker, an ama de casa, but she wasn't particularly a role model for career progression, but she was a real model for being able to do what she did and supporting her family. So there are multiple roles that women can take, and some of them may not be glorifying, but they have their importance in society, and we have to keep that in mind. My point that I think would like to also point is that it's very important that this happens in a naturally and in an organic way. So putting systems of quota and affirmative action is not really a good idea. Having a DEI measures of percentage for businesses and academics to say, oh, you fit the culture, is not the proper way of doing this, because that's an artificial way that's going to fail and result in basically some discontent. So my point is that this has to be done at the grassroots level by teaching our children, teaching everybody that what's important is really the individual, as was mentioned, merit, equity, fairness that needs to be done to get the system to move in the right direction.
Thank you. Any comment, questions?
I understand that, but I don't really agree with the need not to do quota, not to be proactive, Dr. Sharara. It's if you look at the word from a perspective of a woman, it's going to be different. We're individuals. We do not want to be looked at other than individuals with the same rights and responsibilities as everybody else. But in a word that is, starting with physical, you know that out of 4 individuals who get, safety, the physical safety of women is not the same. We grow up in a world where it's not okay to go out on the street at 10 p.m. if you're a girl to go buy something, لأنه it's not safe for you. However, if you're a boy, and it starts with this, and then it goes on for your life. So throughout your life and forever. And it's the same for young girls today, and it was the same for a young girl 50 years ago when I was born. So I think that there needs to be numbers, measures, maybe not DEI per se, maybe that was maybe artificial or not, but being proactive in making the world more equal and men and women equal in all measures, including personal safety, which we didn't talk about today here because it's not our but personal safety. You're 4 times or 75 times more likely to be sold as an organ donor if you're a girl than a boy. That's a lot. I don't know how many boys get raped. I'm not advocating for raping men, but how many of the rape victims are men versus women? Come in. So it percolates to every aspect of life, and I think there needs to be a measure, there needs to be pro-action to protecting women in all their settings, and in academia as well, and professional. It's not the same, but it's different.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, Lina, for the Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I am sure that after hearing this discussion, you'll go back to medicine and you'll leave the room. تفضلي لينا.
Thank you so much. Maybe I want to close by saying thank you. Anna, can I have the small box? Do you have something that comes in small boxes, blue boxes? Shining one. ماشي بكيس حطيتهم بكيس.
Palestinian woman.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Woman in South Lebanon. Speaking about rights, and we are.
Actually, yes, speaking about this, I want to remind ourselves about women in conflict, want to remind ourselves of pregnant women in conflict, women who menstruate in conflict. I want to remind ourselves about these particular difficulties that women and girls have to deal with. I want to remind ourselves about child marriage, particularly in conflict, about the space, the public space, but also the private space not being safe, as Nesrine was saying, this public and the private space being violent. And without these measures, actually, the private space and the public space will remain violent without a recognition of how the lived experience is different, how you experience this space is different, and that's why part of it is legislation and recognizing and actually penalizing and criminalizing harmful practices. And also part of it is, of course, changing mindsets. So with this in mind, thank you all for being with us. Give me 1 second just to explain the second segment of the program. So we have with us Dr. Panayot. They will walk with you to the museum, and there's another program at the museum. And also, for those of you, Ramadan Kareem, for those of you who are not fasting, lunch is served at the museum. Thank you also very much. And one last thing I have not done. Dr. Aguado, I'm hoping that this will be the first in a series of events where we will tackle the subject in different sectors. And I think the idea is to look at these different experiences in different sectors and see what we can do collectively about it. I'm very proud that we have had this space with all of you. Shukran, Dr. Choucair, for your time and for facilitating this. And thank you, the 4 of you, for being what you are, for basically breaking boundaries and for basically making sure that the women who will come behind you will actually, after you, will have better experiences. Thank you all so much.
Welcome, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. Welcome at the AUB Archaeological Museum. Thank you, Lina, for always co-organizing this with us. We're always on board when you organize interesting topics about women. I agree, as long as we're still celebrating that day, it means one thing, that we are not doing well. So hopefully we will end this celebration soon. However, in the meantime, at the AUB Museum, we try and we tend to celebrate this for at least 2 months. So today's exhibition that we're opening in the presence of the artist, Mr. Naguib Mouin, welcome, visiting us from Egypt. his exhibition will be on the show for till the end of April, so that we can organize many different talks around his collection. I'd like to introduce also Mrs. Ash'ar, who is the gallerist who brought and introduced us to Mr. Mouin. I'm going to say a few words. Mr. Mouin was born in Egypt 1981. He's a celebrated sculptor whose artistic journey began after graduating in 2003 from the Faculty of Fine Arts in Alexandria, where he specialized in sculpture. Following his graduation, he traveled to Italy and joined the renowned Nicoli Sculpture Studios, an institution with a rich history dating back to the 19th century. This experience was instrumental in refining his skills and deepening his passion for sculpture. Mouin's academic achievements are remarkable. He earned an MA in monumental sculpture from Egypt and a PhD in the art of sculpture from the Academy of Fine Arts in Carrara, Italy in 2014. He was also honored with the prestigious title of Master Sculptor in Carrara. His artistic repertoire was further enriched during his time in Germany at the Weinstiel Center, where he developed a distinctive style that blends ancient and modern influences. He's particularly known for his innovative combination of stone and wood. This is quite amazing. You will think that the wood is metal, but it's not, it's wood. A technique that has positioned him as a leading figure in contemporary Egyptian art. Thank you for being with us today. Now about the installation, because these are not exhibitions, I like to call them installations, because they are conversations between contemporary art pieces and our antiquities, our, what I like to call fertility figurines and goddesses. So I entitled this Linea Materna. And why is that? Because in ancient Egypt, the power to rule was woven through the maternal line, where royal legitimacy was secured not by the father's name, but by the mother's divine connection. Pharaohs were believed to be conceived by mortals, queens, and gods, Amun, Ra, Horus, binding their authority to the sacred feminine. The mother was not only the vessel of life, but also the guarantor of sovereignty. Her lineage, the unbroken thread that gave rulers the divine order, or the ma'at being the balance and the harmony. But this lineage was not only spiritual, it was embodied. The human body itself was considered an architectural monument, like the sculpture of Mr. Mouin, a sacred temple that contained within it the Ka, the vital essence, the soul, as we call it, just as temples housed the divine presence. The pharaoh's mother was both womb and shrine, the earthly vessel through which kingship was justified and passed on. To reign was to be born to the right mother. The kingdom itself was a legacy held by royal daughters, ensuring that every ruler, even those who wore the double crown of Egypt as female pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Tosret, Cleopatra, was legitimized through maternal descent. The narrative of feminine continuity, protection, and divine fertility echoes with Naguib Mouin's sculptures in conversation with the museum's fertility figurines, asserting the ancient wisdom, life, power, and permanence flow through the mother. Past and present converge in this installation, where the sacred feminine shaped the fate of kings and the destiny of a grand civilization. Thank you.